All right, continuing with our desert, we did our succulents and now we are going to do a desert tortoise. So right there is the finished product and I'm going to show you how to draw it, looking at it and finding the shapes and then putting them together. So first we're going to start with the back of the shell right here. And we are going to just do a nice kind of a rainbow line. Okay. And then on these two edges, we're going to kind of do a little ruffly that they're kind of curved because that's where his legs are underneath. And so the shells are curved just slightly so that they can move their legs. And what I noticed on the turtles is they kind of have it's a little bit of a ruffly edge. And then we're just going to connect that. So there's our turtle shell. And then I am going to start by drawing this line right here. That is the back leg. So that is just a line coming forward at an angle. And then we're going to do just a little bit of a bend right there. So that's the joint. So when it walks, you see how with our wrist it moves like that and we get a line? That's basically what's happening with the turtle's foot right there. From that line, I'm going to do a half circle. So I'm going to come out and come back like that. Okay? And then that way I can do this line. And I'm going to make this all one line. I am going to come back up like this. And then we're going to do the bottom part, get the tail, which is a triangle, and then connect it underneath the shell. We want to make sure it goes underneath the shell because the shell is protecting the turtle's body, and this is the soft part of the body. So we don't want to have it connecting to the edge of the shell. We want to make sure it's tucked underneath and protected. And then right back here, for the back foot that we don't see as much, we're going to do a half circle. And then we can put the tortoise's toenails on. And they're really thick because they have to go through the thick gravel. They dig in the dirt, so they're going to be thick and strong. And then over here, we're going to do two lines from right here because this part right here with the ruffle, that's going to be the turtle's head. So right where it's smooth still, we're going to do one line out, give it some space, and do another one, just like that. And then we're going to do this one that is kind of like a rectangle shape. So we're going to come back, and then same thing, there's our little wrist joint, and then we're going to do a half circle and go right up there. So now I just need to connect like that, and I can do, so with this one, the other toenails are on the other side. So we're just seeing the first two toenails, the other ones are hidden behind his foot. So I'm just going to do these two toenails. And then I'm going to connect the belly of the turtle up here with the foot. Okay. So the next part I'm going to do is I'm going to bring a line out here and a line out here for our tortoise's neck. And then I'm going to put the little bit of a shell protecting. In fact, that means I need to change this line a little bit because if I have an imaginary line coming through here, it's got to connect. It can't be up higher, otherwise it doesn't make sense. Okay, and then what I'm going to do, because I found that this was the easiest way, that's a little bit of a long neck for my turtle. It needs to be closer to the shell so he can pull it and protect himself. I am just going to do a circle because that's the shape, and then I'm going to just change little bits of the circle to make it look more like a desert tortoise instead of a cartoon, okay? So the first thing I'm going to do is I noticed that the tortoises kind of have a flat part of the head, and I'll erase that line, and then a raise right where their eyes are located, so that's the orbital cavity. And then from behind there, it comes out and then follows my circle down. Okay, so flat back, bump for the eye. From behind the eye, come straight out and then trace your circle down. And then we're going to make the mouth. We're going to come back like this, and then I'm going to make him look like he's a happy little turtle, even though they look grumpy and old. And then I'm going to follow my circle down, but I'm going to give it a chin to see the difference right there. So I can erase that little bit right there. And then with my chin, I'm going to go back and follow the jaw line. So right back here on your jaw. In fact, the best way to think of that is if you think about a horse, because you can really see a horse's jaw line. So this right here is the jaw line. It comes up and then curves under and then attaches to the chin. So now I just need to erase the lines I don't want to keep. And then connect it to the neck. And I'm going to have just a couple of saggy baggy skin lines. Okay, so now for the eye. The eye is, there's a pretty good circle, and that's just because he's got the top eyelid and the bottom eyelid. But if you look at a desert tortoise, they're actually a slit eye. So I'm going to draw a pointy oval or a lemon shape or a football shape right in there. And then I'm just going to kind of color that in. And I'm going to leave just a little tiny white space for the highlight. You know, when the sun shines off of the wet eyeball, it gives you a highlight. It makes your animals look alive if you do that. And then he's got two nostrils that you can actually see on the tortoise. All right, so there's that. Now the next part we're going to do is we're going to do the patterns on the turtle's back. And at first I started with straight lines, but then I had, I think it was Lizzie from Miss Morich's class say, oh, it looks like he's carrying an igloo. And I'm like, yeah, it really does. But then I found if I took and I did a really long, big zigzag, not a little one with lots of little lines, but one like this, and then I connect the bottom points to the bottom, and then I do my little belly shell there. At the point, if I bring those up, now do you see how this one I turned in because I'm trying to follow the shape of my turtle, which is a round, or it's like a dome. I don't want it to go straight up and down because the turtle doesn't go straight up and down like house bricks. And then this one I'm going to turn in a little bit. So what I'm going to do for there is I'm going to go angle in, point it up, bring it back down, point it up. See how that point matches that dip? Bring it down and then back up. And then for this, I'm just going to go line up, and there is my turtle back. And I have not had one look the same. They always look different. And then you can do patterns inside of it. You could do something like a turtle that you just follow the outside of the line that you made. But we are doing art, so that means you can do anything. You could look up Zentangle and do a bunch of like different Zentangle designs in each of the different patterns, and just lots of fun stuff like that. So we are still missing one leg, this one right here, which it is basically a rectangle shape with a half oval on the bottom of it. So I am going to come right back here by his head. I'm going to bring a rectangle down here, and right there I'm going to put my wrist joint on my turtle. I'm going to add, oh good, you can't see that, add the circle right here, connect those, and then I'm going to add my toenails for my tortoise. 1, 2, 3, 4. And then I'm going to do, so what I noticed is that they have really big, thick scales on their legs, and their legs are really, really thick. They have to be, they weigh a lot, so they've got to have a lot of muscles. So I'm going to do some of these circle patterns for the scale on my tortoise. And if you watched the succulent video on how to draw those, instead of putting your succulents in a pot, you could put those behind your tortoise here. I could do maybe my stacking cactus, which looks like a bunch of U's put on top of each other. I could even do like a cactus flower with it. Some little spikes. Really, mostly they're out in the sagebrush, but instead of just doing sagebrush, let's just be artists and do what we want to do. So behind that, I could do a nice big yucca plant, have it go underneath here. Something like that. And then over here, we could do some more. We could do the one where we do the C's and build up a really fun little plant this way. Or you could just look for desert plants and find some that you like to add to it. Okay. And then, as always, make sure that you upload that to the Fox Hollow Art Gallery.